So, shall we start? Okay. Good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to everyone for joining us today. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar organized by Visio TPS in collaboration with DT Internacional. My name is Yaprak Tüzüner, Marketing Specialist at Visio TPS, and I will be your moderator for today's session. Our webinar today is titled Smart Investment in Track and Trace Systems, Hidden Costs, Performance, and the Importance of Choosing the Right Partner. Before we begin, I'd like to briefly introduce our speakers. Tutku Kazan, Marketing Director at Visio TPS. Volkan Devran, Senior Sales Engineer at Visio TPS. And joining us from Portugal is Daniel Teixeira. He's the CEO of DT Internacional. So thank you all for being here. You can submit your questions to us anytime through our website or through email. So now I'd like to hand it over to my colleagues, Tutku Kazan and Volkan Devran, who will walk us through the strategic and technical aspects of these systems. So now Tutku's turn.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Tutku. I'm the Marketing Director of Visio TPS. And today we will talk about track and trace systems from a slightly different perspective. In many discussions about serialization and aggregation, the first question we hear from our customers, from manufacturers, is usually very simple. It's how much will it cost? So, and of course, cost is an important factor in any investment decision. But however, when it comes to track and trace systems, focusing only on the initial investment can sometimes be misleading, because serialization is not just a piece of equipment that you buy once and forget about. It becomes part of your production infrastructure, often for the next 10 years or more. So in today's session, we will explore how manufacturers can evaluate track and trace solutions, not only in terms of price, but also in terms of long-term performance, flexibility, and integration capability. We will also discuss some of the hidden costs that may appear during the life cycle of serialization and aggregation systems, and what companies should consider when selecting the right technology partner. So with that in mind, I will give the word to my colleague, Mr. Volkan Devran.
Hello, this is Volkan Devran speaking. I'm working with the company for almost 8 years. Currently, I'm in the role of Senior Sales Engineer for mostly the European market. So now getting back to the point, the pricing and the total cost of the project. But before we go deeper into the investment side, it's important to understand why track and trace have become a key global issue currently. These days, this isn't not just for talking, they are real changes are happening. Over the last decade, in terms of track and trace systems, the pharmaceutical industry, along with some other sectors like cosmetics, explosive, and so on, has seen major changes. This is driven by more strict rules and a focus on more clear supply chains. Almost everyone is pushing for better monitoring these days. Governments and regulators around the world are bringing in serialization and tracking methods to make the pharmaceutical supply chain stronger day by day. The main target is to fight fake medicines, which is still posing serious dangers to patient safety in many areas. It is really concerning. People might use counterfeit products without even realizing it. Also, regulators want full insight into the supply chain, from where products are made and distributed to where they are given out. This covers the whole process, the whole supply chain. As a result, many countries have put in place or are currently planning serialization and traceability regulations. For especially pharmaceutical manufacturers, this changed everything. Serialization is no longer a choice, it is a must for entering markets and meeting the rules. With more countries adding new requirements, the systems you invest in today need to last for years and handle different and changing regulations. This raises one key point. As a track and trace system must work long-term across different regions, we need to change how we assess these investments. So let's turn to this. Is serialization simply a one-time purchase, or is it much more? Yeah, the answer is on the screen, and it is clear to common mix-up about investing in serialization. A lot of companies start out seeking track and trace as just another price of gear to add to their packaging line, like a one-off setup. But really, it's far more than that. It's a lasting system that fits into both your production setup and your digital side. Think about typical pharma packaging lines. They often run for 15 to 20 years. Serialization technologies, though, tends to update quicker with a lifespan of about 7 to 10 years or even less. Over that time, things in manufacturing will change a lot. You might expand to new markets, facing fresh rules on serialization. Your products could shift, bringing new packaging types or setups. Your IT systems also might upgrade too, like you add a new ERP or MES system in your facility. And with more digital tools in pharma, handling data, reports, and connections gets even more vital. So the system you pick now has to adapt to all down the line. In short, when checking out a tight track and trace option, don't just focus on today's rules. Think about how it will hold up and grow over the next 10 years. That's where many firms get a surprise. Over the long haul, the upfront cost is often just a fraction of the total, which leads us to the next part, the hidden costs that can pop up over the track and trace system's life. For me, this is a good way to think about it is like an iceberg. Above the surface, you see the upfront costs, the visible costs, like in the picture, like printers, cameras, aggregation stations, and license of the software. But below, there are ongoing operation costs that add up the system's life. A common one is consumables. Some systems use special locked cartridges or parts that you can only buy from one supplier. In busy production lines, this can really pile up over time. Another key factor is software licenses and updates. With certain systems, you pay yearly fees just to keep things running or meet the new rules. Integration can be costly too. On the software end, linking serialization to ERP systems, level 4 providers, new providers, or national databases might need pricey custom work if the software isn't flexible. And downtime, which is often overlooked. Slow support or complex setups can cause production stops, hitting your efficiency and profits hard. Finally, there is training and the complexity of the systems. Tough systems mean more training sessions and extra work for operators and IT staffs, which of course equals more downtime. So when assessing serialization investments, look past the starting price. Consider the total cost of ownership across the whole cycle. So we mentioned about this locked system problem. We said that some manufacturers are locking their customers in. So we call this vendor lock-in. In some track and trace solutions, the whole setup is built so that you are tied tightly to only one supplier. At first, this might stand out. The system could even look appealing with a good starting price. But over time, the downsides of a closed system start to cause real operational headaches. A typical example is exclusive consumables. Some printing systems only work with cartridges or parts from the original maker. That means you cannot shop around for cheaper ones leading to much higher costs year after year, especially for cartridges for printing. Another issue is software adaptability. If the platform has a rigid structure, tasks like linking to a new level 4 provider, hooking up a fresh national track and trace system, or adjusting to new rules can become big, complicated projects. While integrations always cost something, in closed systems, they often end up pricier than planned. This can mean long delays, extra expenses, and slower responses to market changes. Maintenance and support can add to the dependency too. When only the vendor handles services or updates, you might see rising fees and less control over your operations. In short term, this might feel okay, but over 5 or 10 years, their effects will add a lot. For companies in multiple markets with changing rules, having flexibility is as crucial as staying compliant. And that's where the design and approach of a track and trace solution really starts to matter. So if the starting price doesn't show the full picture, the next obvious question is, what should manufacturers really look at when pricing a track and trace solution? From our work with pharma companies in various markets, there are a few main things to keep in mind. First, system reliability. The serialization setups run in the production lines. So if something fails, like printing or checking the visuals, verification, or sending the data, it can quickly slow down the output of the whole line, the whole manufacturing line. That's why steady performance and stability matter so much. Second, how well it integrates. A track and trace system doesn't work alone. It needs to connect with other digital tools in the factory, like your ERP system, warehouse management systems, and reporting to maybe national databases. So the smoother and more adaptable that connection is, the better everything runs. Another key point is the scalability. Rules keep changing, and companies often enter new markets. The system should handle fresh requirements, extra lines, and more data without needing a full overhaul. Software flexibility is vital too, and modular design lets you adjust things easily as needs shift. Finally, the technical support and ongoing partnership. These are long-term systems, so you need partners who offer quick help, regular updates, and solid teamwork over time. When you get all these, reliability, integration, scalability, flexibility, and strong support, your investment in track and trace will pay off, not just now, but for the whole life of your production setup. Now I will leave the word to my colleagues again. They will give you some insight about how VisuTT approach to these problems we have mentioned.
Okay, thank you, Volkan. Now let's take a look at how these principles are applied in practice in VisuTT TPS. In here, our approach to track and trace systems is based on one key idea. So the track and trace solutions should be flexible, scalable, and fully integrated with the manufacturer's operational environments. Rather than treating track and trace as a standalone machine or isolated software, we design it as a connected system architecture. At the line level, our level 2 line manager software manages serialization, aggregation, and communication with equipment such as printers, cameras, etc. This allows operators to control production process, manage work orders, configure recipes, and monitor system performance through a centralized interface. Above that, we have the level 3 plant manager, which acts as the central management system of the management platform for the entire facility. It manages production data across all lines, controls serial numbers, generation and the distribution of the serial numbers, and maintains master data for products, packaging configurations, and stakeholders. This layered architecture allows manufacturers to manage serialization operations both at the line level and the plant level, ensuring better coordination and visibility across the production environment. So one of the most critical capabilities of any track and trace system is its ability to integrate smoothly with other digital systems, like you mentioned. Track and trace is not just about printing codes on the packaging. So it's about managing and exchanging data across the entire pharmaceutical supply chain. Within a manufacturing environment, track and trace systems must communicate with several different layers of digital infrastructure. For example, they need to integrate with ERP systems which manage production planning, production data, and inventory. They often need to communicate with level 4 serialization providers, which acts as centralized platforms for managing serial numbers across multiple sites. And in many cases, they must also connect directly with national track and trace systems operated by government authorities. Each of these integrations requires reliable data exchange, secure communication protocols, and flexible software architecture. At Visio TTPS, our systems are designed to support this complex integration landscape. So let's take a look at an example in here. This diagram shows the system architecture of Company X. Company X, let's say, is a German pharmaceutical manufacturer known for products in mouth and throat care, so sold over in over 50 countries. They already had serialization lines when they meet with us, and they were using TraceKey for EMVO reporting in Europe. But as they entered Russia, aggregation became a challenge, and their existing setup couldn't handle it. That's when Visio TTPS stepped in. We deployed Plant Manager as a middleware platform, starting with TraceKey integration for serial number provisioning and event reporting. Next, we connected their SAP ERP to Visio TT for seamless master data and order management. We then bridged their equipment to work under Visio TT's control, bringing reliable aggregation into the play. And Company X also needed a rework solution at their warehouse, so we delivered a custom aggregation solution, ensuring that all rework events were captured and sent to TraceKey, keeping full traceability intact. Later, as they entered China, we built a file-based integration with Alibaba Cloud for batch and serial number exchange. So it was a fully automated setup with their cloud provider. And in this scenario shows that Visio TT is strange in adapting global compliance needs and bringing different solutions to different customers. And when we bring all these factors together, the system architecture, integration capability, operational flexibility, we arrive at a concept that is very important for manufacturers: total cost of ownership, or TCO. Instead of looking only at the purchase price, TCO considers the entire life cycle cost of the system. So this includes not only the initial equipment investment, but also the operational costs that occur when over many years of production. For example, consumables used during daily operations, software upgrades and system improvements, integration projects when entering the new markets, and technical support required to maintain system stability. So in some cases, these ongoing costs can exceed the original equipment investment. That is why more manufacturers are shifting their perspective. Rather than asking which system is cheapest today, they are asking a more strategic question, like which system will create the most value and the lowest operational risk over the next 5 to 10 years. To illustrate the concept of total cost of ownership, let's look at a simplified comparison in here. In this example, both solutions start with similar initial investments, and however, over time, operational costs begin to appear. So some systems require annual software licenses, user-based pricing, upgrade fees, and even a cost per reported serial number. In contrast, in the Visio TT model, the software license is paid once at the beginning, and there are no recurring charges for serial numbers, users, or software updates. When we extend this comparison across several years of operation, the difference becomes quite visible. While the initial investment may appear similar, the long-term operational cost can grow significantly depending on the system architecture. This is why many manufacturers today evaluate serialization systems based on not on price, but on their long-term structure and operational flexibility. And at this point, an important question naturally comes up for many manufacturers. Will these investments actually pay off? So track and trace systems are often initially perceived as a regulatory expense. However, when implemented correctly, serialization and aggregation systems can create value in several ways. First, they can help to reduce operational and regulatory risks, of course. And second, serialization enables market access. In many countries today require track and trace compliance as a condition for product registration and distribution. Without these systems in place, companies may simply be unable to export to certain markets. And third, track and trace systems can improve operational efficiency. Aggregation data can support more accurate inventory management, faster product recalls, and improve visibility across the supply chain. When these benefits are combined, serialization becomes much more than a compliance requirement. It becomes a system that protects the company's reputation, brand image, supports regulatory readiness, and strengthens the operational control. And this is why many manufacturers today are increasingly view track and trace as not just a cost, but a strategic investment. So, before we conclude, let me briefly summarize the key messages from today's discussion. First, track and trace systems should not be evaluated only by their initial purchase price. Serialization and aggregation is a long-term operational infrastructure that will remain part of your production environment for many, many years. Second, when selecting a solution, manufacturers should consider the total cost of ownership, including operational costs, integration flexibility, and long-term support. And third, the right track and trace system can create value beyond compliance. So ultimately, implementing serialization is not just about meeting regulatory requirements. It's about building sustainable and future-ready production environments. So thank you very much for your attention. So I will leave the word to my colleague, Ms. Yaprak.
Thank you, Tutku, and thank you, Volkan, for those insights. So it is clear that the technical foundation is vital, but we also need to understand how these systems perform in real-world conditions, especially in specific regional markets. To explore this further, I'd like to invite Daniel Teixeira to join the conversation. Daniel is the CEO of DT Internacional, and DT Internacional is a key partner for us in the Portuguese market. Daniel, welcome. Before we dive into the details, please briefly introduce DT Internacional and your role in supporting manufacturers in Portugal.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Daniel Teixeira, and I'm the CEO of DT Internacional. DT Internacional is a 35-year-old company working as principal for agents in the Portuguese pharma and food industry. So our main strength is the team working on the Portuguese market and the after-sales team assistance, together with obviously our agencies like Visio TT. Our previous experience in working track and trace solutions actually gives us today a big experience on the existing equipment suppliers. so we can communicate with the clients basically on a real known issue of the advantage and disadvantage of Visio TT solutions, of track and trace solutions, aggregation solutions. We have been working for many years with these type of solutions, and we can now talk more clearly about what's really going on in terms of the market, not only in Portugal, but mainly in international countries as well. So basically, this is DT International, a company that is focused on after sales and sales services for our clients.
Thank you, Daniel. It's great to have your local expertise here, because since you are on the front lines with manufacturers every day, I have a few specific questions for you regarding the current landscape in Portugal. First question, from your perspective, what are the main challenges pharmaceutical manufacturers in Portugal currently face regarding track and trace and serialization systems?
Well, in our experience, one of the main challenges for the pharmaceutical manufacturers in Portugal is balancing regulatory compliance with operational efficiency. Serialization requirements are strict, and companies need to ensure that every product is properly identified, verified, and report without slowing down production. Slowing down production is a main key aspect on the client's perspective. Another important challenge is integrating track and trace solutions into existing production environments. Many manufacturers operate packaging lines that were installed long years ago, so adapting them to modern serialization requirements can be technically demanding. Ensuring reliable data management and maintaining system stability across the entire production process are also key factors to the clients. Okay, so manufacturing facilities have to adapt continuously to their clients or to their new demandings.
Thank you for your answer. Second question. When manufacturers in Portugal evaluate track and trace equipment, what are the key decision criteria beyond the initial purchase price?
Purchase price. First, second, and third solution. So clients are looking for a reduced cost of the investment. Why? Because mainly they look at this type of solutions as a non-profitable solution. This is a cost, not a producing machine. It doesn't produce blisters, it doesn't produce tablets, it doesn't produce capsules, it doesn't produce vials. It just controls them. So it's not an added value. So the lower the investment costs, the better. So to look at this from the client's perspective, price is obviously an important factor, but in practice, it is rarely the main driver. What they want is to have the machine running without interfering in the global production, without stopping production, without preventing aggregation from slowing down the end product, the end OEE. And this is one of the main problems. So track and trace, actually, the speed of the machines usually reduce the speed of the line. And this is a major key point to effectiveness. To overall efficiency, it actually stops overall efficiency. They also look carefully at the flexibility of the system. A solution needs to be adapted to different packaging formats, production speeds, and potential future challenges, because in today's world, everything keeps changing. So if you look at the markets, especially in the East markets, they are required a number of solutions that you need to continuously adapt yourself. And if you don't have a software basis that actually adapts your system to upgrading that level, it will be A, one cost, B, one slowdown of production. So our system actually assures that we can be adaptable in a much more efficient way. Obviously, last but not least is the after-sales services. If you have technical experts that help you to solve the problems locally, it makes a difference. Otherwise, you're losing 1 day production, 2 days production, you're having the machine stopped, and you don't know who to talk to in the other end that can actually help you solve the solution. We at DT International have a ticket service together with you that actually helps us to locate the exact person for the exact problem. Okay, if it's a number problem, if it's a serialization, if it's a hardware, if it's a software, if it's the stamps, everything can be a problem. But if you don't have an after-sales service on site, that will be an issue. So basically, key advantage is obviously after-sales services.
Thank you so much. Third question is, many manufacturers already operate existing packaging lines and IT systems. How important is the system compatibility and integration capability in these projects?
Well, compatibility integration are absolutely critical. Most pharmaceutical companies already have established production environments with packaging equipment, vision system, printers, and enterprise software such as ERP and mesh platforms. A track and trace solution must be able to integrate smoothly into this environment. If the system requires larger modifications to the existing line, the project becomes more complex and therefore it's not used. If it's more complex, more risky. If it's more risky, it's more costly. So our integration solution must be ready to deliver with most of the offline work done so that we can actually not use the time of the machines and obviously reduce this. Flexible integrating options on the hardware level, on the software level, it allows you a better equipment and a better solution. The reduction of OEE costs is one of the major advantages of Visual TT. The return of investment, as you stated, it's much lower than any other existing brand in the market. Hardware level, we know that Visual TT is lower, and on the software level, we present flexibility and no cost, no running costs of the machine, or much smaller running costs of the machine. So this is obviously the solution that brings to the clients major advantage.
Thank you. Question 4. From a distributor's perspective, how does strong local support influence customer confidence and project success?
Well, as I stated before, local support makes a very significant difference in my humble opinion. Serialization systems are critical to pharmaceutical production, so any issue can potentially stop a packaging line. And in those solutions, in those situations, actually response time is extremely important. When customers know that they have a local specialist that can help them solve the problems, it's very, very advantageable. And this is what we offer locally. And this is what our clients know, that in a long-term operation of the system, this is essential to the overall success of each project.
Thank you. Question 5. As DT Internacional, what were the key reasons behind choosing Visio TT TPS as your technology partner for the Portuguese market?
Well, as almost everyone knows, we used to work with another company for track and trace solutions. We don't have to hide it. We have to show it as a major important solution. The driven costs of having a machine a hardware system. Let's call it a hardware system, because the machine is composed of the checkware, is composed of many other equipments around it. And this drives a lot of the clients, especially a lot of the managing directors, told us that the cost of the hardware solution is so expensive that I hate you guys. I need you guys to go away of me because you are very expensive. You, as in a track and trace solution, it doesn't matter if it's us or someone else. The hardware solution is very expensive and it doesn't bring me anything back. On top of that, I have a problem. For each serial number that I print, I have to pay. So this is a continuous cost. So Daniel, please go away of my office because you are sucking me dry. And this was the main drive for us, actually, stop working with also other agencies. We need to find someone that is on one point effective. We need a machine that runs 300 a minute because the blister lines are running at 300 a minute. Okay, so we need to effectively run at 300 a minute and not stopping the machine. Okay, we need the efficiency of after-sales service. Okay, DT International provides the after-sales service, but we need the machine not to stop and due to breaking of seals, security stamps. Okay, and this continuously happen, and this we have to adapt ourselves, continuously adapt ourselves. It's not just the checkware, it's not just the rejection, it's the final speed. We need a brand, a machine that realizes and gives us the power to tell the client, yes, we can do 300 a minute without a problem. Let's work on it. We have to see what the stamp is, we have to go technically, and most of the solutions have to be very, very efficient so that we can take the maximum output and the machine doesn't stop the line from producing what it's supposed to be. Of course, when we looked at all of this, we also looked at flexibility, software-wise. We have to integrate with Arvato. We have to integrate with TraceLink. We have to integrate with Leitos. We have to integrate with Antares. We have to integrate with Vimacam. We have to integrate with everyone. Okay, so yes, we can integrate with everyone, and not all the companies can integrate with everyone. Okay, and we need to make sure that we take the benefits of having an equipment giving us all the input, all the data that we can use to help them make that machine a better machine and to give the information. Visio TT actually helps us with this. So we can actually, that was also one of the main reasons for choosing Visio TT as a track and trace solution. If you want to go further, usually today, pharma companies are not stopping at the track and trace solution. They have, at the end of the track and trace solution, they also have a case packer. Okay, we can have the aggregation attached to it. No matter what the machine, we can supply today an aggregation system fully independent from what the machine is or fully integrated with the machine. This is a solution that always brings problems to clients, and that we today at Visio TT have, gives us a big advantage. Everyone starts today with serialization, but today we also have aggregation, and Visio TT suppliers with the equipment and with the solution. Okay.
Thank you very much. Sixth and last question to Daniel Teixeira is, what advice would you give to manufacturers who are considering upgrading or replacing their existing track and trace systems?
The advice I have is in my own favor. I'm very, very strict to my clients. All of them know this. We have a better solution. We have a faster solution. We have a more flexible solution from the point of view of hardware, machine, to the point of view of software, everything that we can take out of the line, okay? The upgrading systems, the solution. So I have not talked about money. And I've said it before, money is one of the solutions. If you have a machine that has an OPEX cost, a high OPEX cost, and you have 4 lines running, just 4, not 10, not 12, just 4, you can pay the machine easily on a return of investment with Visio TT's full solutions. So clearly, the recommendation is talk to us. It's the only thing I can say. I can tell you wonders of all about the solution, but without a dedicated project for each solution where we can implement and show you not only the equipment, but also the return of that investment, okay? And if you have the return, depending on the volume, of course, but if you have of the speed of everything, but in the end, if you have a return of the investment, 2, 3, 4 years, it's much faster than anyone else because A, you don't have operating costs continuously throughout the year. You don't have additional costs unless there is something very, very special required, okay? So there is no upgrades to the existing system. The upgrades are there, the machine runs. So if there is a new solution that the market is looking for, we can help you set up. But what I would kindly ask everyone, talk to us, talk to Visio TT. Let's find project by project, solution by solution. You have nothing to lose except one email sending us, we have a project. Let's work on that project. Let's make sure that we can dedicate that project. Operator level is easy for us. Working to level 3 is easy. You want to upgrade it to level 4? It's easy, but needs to be carefully evaluated. What are the running costs? And therefore, what we kindly ask everyone is talk to us. Let us have an evaluation of each of the projects, of each of the solutions you have. We are here to assist. If you are dedicated to one single brand, you will have a problem when that brand escalates the costs. That's clear. It happened to everyone. Okay? So very clear, once again, please have us. I don't mind being a second choice because as soon as you buy the first, you will shortly buy the second and replace everything else with us because the running costs will help you to pay the machine. That's my last keyword to all the clients, to everyone that actually has a potential project for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel, again for those detailed answers. Navigating the local landscape requires both technical expertise and a deep understanding of market's specific needs. Now we have 2 questions for Tutku and 2 questions for Volkan. So first question is for Tutku. Can introducing a new supplier reduce operating costs?
Like Daniel already mentioned, and like we already mentioned in our presentation, yes, it's open can, and because one of the main difference from Visio TT is our cost structure, because as we already mentioned that our software license is paid once and then at the beginning, and we are not giving you annual license charges, or you don't have to pay for each serial number, and you don't have to pay for the users, and for different plans. It's only once. You are only paying for it once, and then you can use it all the time. And in many systems in the market, the costs are accumulating over time. So yes, it often can, from my perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Second question is for Volkan. How much can I save by purchasing a new system?
Yeah, the short answer depends. Of course, it depends on your manufacturing size. It depends on your operations. It depends on your markets and so on. But let's make a quick comparison. Like the year license fees. So Visual TT Plant Manager don't have this. You don't need to pay every year an amount of money just to keep the system running, or we are not charging per serial number. So if it's a fraction of a cost, like 0.01 or 0.02 cents per serial number, it adds up during the operation. When you receive more serial numbers to make more production, this is costing you day by day. And also, I saw some of our competitors are also charging for additional user accounts, which is not a thing for Visual TT as well. Our all printers are unlocked, so you are not, let's say, forced to use Visual TT cartridges in your printers. You can use your local supplier or so on. So skipping these repeating fees, the total cost of ownership is much lower than our competitors, I can say.
Thank you, Volkan. Third question is for Tutku. Do the operators need to be trained on a new system?
Yeah. So some training is always necessary for when we are introducing a new system, but with Visual TT software, it is designed operator friendly and initiative. So our line manager interface centralized machine control and production operations, which makes it easier for operators to adapt quickly. In most projects, operators become comfortable with the system after a short training and few production runs. And in my case, for example, when I first joined the company, it took almost 2 hours for them to teach me. So it's not that much of time.
All right. Fourth question is for Volkan. Will it work with the software system I have installed?
So I think you're referring your current ERP system. Will it work with your current ERP warehouse management or your current Level 4 system? So yeah, the short answer is yes. As Tutku explained in her presentation, we have a client. We can, let's say, use it as an example. They only have our software solution on the server. They are using their own printing and verifying application on their hardware. So they didn't change their hardware brand for the printing and verification. But for the integration of the upper systems, like the new regulation came to China, and they have a new integration for their Visual TT Plant Manager, and also they are having the SAP integration for the serial number exchange and so on. So yeah, Visual TT actually stands out from their competitors because we are doing everything in our house. We are doing our own software. We are not outsourcing anything. So as we are the only, let's say, developer of our own software, it is quite easy for us to make another integration.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tutku, and thank you, Volkan, again, for your answers. It seems that we have addressed many of the key issues. As we wrap up today's webinar, I would like to extend a sincere thank you to Tutku Kazan, Volkan Devran, and Daniel Teixeira for their transparency and expertise. The main message today is clear. Smart investment in track and trace is about assessing long-term performance, hidden operational costs, and the strength of your local partner. So, what is next? The full recording of this webinar will be available on our website shortly after the session. And you can always contact us through our website or through email for a more personalized discussion. So thank you all for your time and for your participation. We are looking forward to seeing you at our next webinar. I wish you a great day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.